On November 15, 2001, Halo Combat Evolved made its explosive debut alongside the launch of Microsoft's first foray into the home console market.
So, for the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.
The critical acclaim cemented Bungie, the developer of Halo, as one of the best, a prime example of what the industry has to offer. Beyond being a commercial and critical success, the series became a staple in the lives of its players, being the heart of LAN parties and sprouting communities, competitions, and yearly events. Outside of a PC port of Combat Evolved in 2003, and the often forgotten Halo 2 Vista port in 2007, the franchise has been largely locked to Xbox consoles. Halo 3 came and went without a PC release, leaving those players looking for a new Halo experience to keep tabs on the modding scene, where a passionate community worked hard to keep an aging title relevant. In 2012, a man named Alex Rogic discovered Halo Custom Edition. His introduction to Halo would go on to have a massive impact on the PC community.
Halo, it's finished.
No, I think we're just getting started.
I kept wanting to do more Halo on PC because I just got into Custom Edition, the mods and the custom maps that were available for that. And then I also got into Halo 2. And then I got to Halo 3, and it was like, there is nothing. You just have to get a 360. And at the time, I didn't have a 360. So I thought to myself, well, what if I could just make my own Halo 3 experience on computer?
Although the prospects of a Halo experience on PC are brighter today, with Halo Infinite confirmed for the platform, in 2012 the landscape wasn't any different than it had been since the Combat Evolved port. When Alex made the decision to make a classic Halo experience for PC, he didn't quite understand what he was getting himself into. After messing around in Unity and learning from YouTube tutorials, Alex put together a demo, one he fondly recalls as an abomination. It had one grass texture, an assault rifle, and not much else.
I'm alive. Oh, alright. As you can see, we have a terrain here. We have the assault rifle from Halo 3. We have lighting. We have reflective off the lovely assault rifle. And what are these little caps? Oh, he just turned yellow. Why did he do that? Oh no, he's following me. Oh god. Okay, what do? I shoot him. There we go.
The guns weren't alive when they were shooting, and the enemies looked like pills you might be offered in the Matrix. While these humble beginnings may not impress the world at large, Alex and his demo sparked a movement within the community. Through his presence on YouTube, Alex got in touch with 3D artist Seth Hatfield, who then introduced him to his brother Nathaniel. As the project grew in popularity, so did the team. They were taking on anyone and everyone who was willing, and they managed to snag talented, well-known figures in the modding community. Suddenly, Alex found himself at the head of a project with an invested team of programmers and artists from around the world. It was time for the project to really take off.
It was an interesting time. I didn't really have a vision. It was just more of like Halo 3 on computer, because it wasn't there. And that was just kind of the statement we went by with the team. And
honestly, for the first 2 years of the project, it was difficult to get it off the ground. We kind of got a level of exposure early on that the project didn't need.
Installation 01's infancy, or as Alex and Nathaniel like to call it, the Dark Ages, was a bit of a tumultuous time for the project. Software development on this scale requires the talent, but also an incredible amount of organization and clear direction, a lot of which comes from experience. experience the young team didn't quite have. The project lacked things like source control, documentation, progressional development, and a proper method of sharing files, all of which is problematic, especially for a team of volunteers spread around the world. While the faults of the project during these dark ages might seem like a basic project management issue, it's important to keep in mind that Installation 01 is a fan project, working in the realm of existing IP. What that means is it cannot be monetized in any way, shape, or form, and it must be composed entirely of original assets. The undertaking is huge, and the men and women behind Installation 01 are spread out and still going about their daily lives.
We began working on some assets, and then we got distracted, and then we got distracted again, and we couldn't find anybody to code. We had people who were interested, that were actually pretty skilled, join and then realize what they were joining, and they just kind of took off.
We had a lot of team members who had decent investment into the project and what we were doing, and they were frustrated with the direction it was going, and they were frustrated with the lack of progress that we were making, and they were basically like, hey, we want to run this project now.
Nathaniel, who was well respected on the team, thought that Alex had an incredible idea, but knew he needed some help in getting a handle on things. After bringing the team's feelings to him, they figured out it was best to establish a tighter structure. If they were going to commit their own time to it and ask others to do the same, it needed to be handled in the proper way.
We really hit big in November of 2015. Like, that was the moment where everything turned from this is some crappy kind of wannabe Halo title to a legitimate game.
With a new outlook on the future, the IO1 team began to implement new workflows and incorporate proper development practices. From July to November of 2015, they pushed hard to create a playable prototype of the game.
This was the first version of the game that we actually looked at it and we said, hey, this is coming together and this is looking like a game. Which was new for us because we'd been used to creating things that was like, maybe it'll be something eventually.
Alex calls this prototype one of his favorite versions of Installation 01, due to how closely it resembles the classic Halo experience. The guns felt snappy and fun due to a small bit of aim assist code, but it unfortunately lacked a lot of the underlying systems for the kind of game they were intending to make. Regardless, this was a major milestone for the team. Now, there was something tangible for them to play with and test. They were able to quantify and interact with their progress, and experience it in a whole new way. Having shrunk to a team of 10 people earlier in 2015, by the end of the year they had grown to as many as 35. And at the start of the new year, they released an update video to their YouTube.
It hit home for people in a way that nothing that we'd released up until that point had.
IO1 looked better and had more polish. It gave the fans something to get excited about. And to further propel this momentum, a massive opportunity had fallen into their lap.
We found out that we had this opportunity to create a video, and that video was going to be streamed to basically every Microsoft store. We had 5 days.
The opportunity he's talking about is the 2016 PGL Microsoft Stores competition, an event that garners thousands of live viewers and was being streamed to every Microsoft store in the United States. All hands were on deck. Despite being crunched for time, they were on track to deliver the trailer, having only sacrificed a night or two of sleep, a small price to pay for the exposure they will have gained from the event. Until a mistake was made, costing them hours of work.
After I had done a bunch of work, I pushed to our source control, but what I did was I actually deleted a bunch of crap. Basically my world just exploded there.
We kind of freaked out. We had to get the video to him by a certain time that day, and we're scrambling because I had the music, I had the timings of the so I already had the skeleton of the video, but we didn't have any of the content for it. So this was dinner time the night before, but there was never any question in our minds as to whether or not we were going to make it.
The team recovered and got their video to the event rep on time, gaining attention and thousands of new fans as it was streamed live and shown across the US.
It really was our foot in the door, because this is when we started getting that community attention, that public attention. It was streamed, and then we also uploaded it to our YouTube channel, It got like 20,000 views.
20,000? Oh, no. This thing went up to 70,000 in like 3 days.
The sudden burst into the limelight was a major win for the small team. They were no longer a fan project flying under the radar that only the modding community was familiar with. When you think of fan projects in the video game space, we're all used to the end result of the IP owner putting their foot down and ending further development. After all, taking someone else's work and using it without express consent is sure to land you in hot water. Fortunately, from the get-go, the IO1 team has made sure they're following Microsoft's game content usage rules to the T. Ultimately, what this means is all their assets have been created from scratch, and they will never implement a monetization model into the game. And while the game looks like Halo, feels like Halo, and acts like Halo, it's their own iteration of the universe we all know and love. But how do you create something that remains faithful to the original while also being your own thing?
Our design philosophy for Installation 01 has really reflected a lot of what influenced the original creators when they were building Halo for the first time. We have found our identity as a project in a very similar way to how, Bungie gave Halo its identity in the first place.
Early on, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not the team was striking a good balance between the new and old Halo art styles. As time went on and they developed their voice, the project evolved from imitation to art. While Microsoft's GCUR allows fans a lot of freedom to create content in the Halo universe, there's still a clause stating that they can pull the plug on your project at any time. The IO1 team made it a point to try and open up lines of communication to show their intentions were pure. This raised some concerns within the team. Due to the usual course of action for fan projects that gain the attention of the rights holder, some were nervous about associating with a project that might possibly be shut down. Early communication consisted mainly of the IO1 team being fully transparent with 343, until May 2017, when Matthew Lake, Installation 01's lead animator, posted a video to the game's YouTube page.
The cinematic trailer garnered well over 1.5 million views. After the cinematic trailer, they were like, hey, so you guys want to get on a call with us or something? And we're like, this could be either really, really good or really, really bad. So the night before, I got an email back from our studio contact saying, hey, just to make you guys aware, insert studio name higher up and insert lawyer name here are also going to be on the call with us tomorrow. Looking forward to speaking with you.
What the team was told was that they were in no imminent legal danger, and though that sounds ominous, it's really the best they could have hoped for. While Halo fans on PC might feel like Microsoft has had enough opportunities to bring Halo to their preferred platform, Microsoft still needs to protect their intellectual property. So long as the IO1 team continues on the path they're on, they're in the clear.
The only thing that I can express is how overwhelmingly positive it was. It was very validating for us. Gaining this understanding that what we've been working on all this time has not gone unnoticed.
That was probably one of the most smoothest things we've ever experienced, and professional things we've ever experienced.
They invited us to the studio later that year, both for our project and for official Halo projects.
The future for IO1 is bright, and the team seems more focused and excited than ever. Creating a game from the ground up is a daunting task. The amount of people working on a AAA game usually numbers in the hundreds, with budgets well into the millions. In the end, there's hope that the game will sell and turn a profit. The IO1 team, on the other hand, is legally obligated not to generate revenue from the work, or even accept donations. So how and why does a team built entirely of volunteers persevere through the ups and downs of game development while maintaining their daily lives? Like most fan projects, Installation 01 was born out of passion, but it evolved into something that meant much more to the people behind it and the community it's being made for. For Alex and Nathaniel, Installation 01 has connected them with people in ways that nothing else has. The entire team is a family, not just colleagues working towards the creation of a product. And not being driven by revenue has helped them discover themselves and find their footing moving forward as a studio. Their shared passion for Halo is what brought them together, and the community that made it possible for them to connect is what's keeping them going. When Installation 01 was little more than a concept, Halo on PC seemed like a dream long forgotten. But in recent years, Microsoft has changed directions, putting more emphasis on their unique position of having a significant presence in both the console and PC space. They've mentioned that moving forward, all first-party titles will be released on Xbox and Windows, thus ending Halo's decade-long exclusivity in the console space. With Halo Infinite on the horizon, some might think that IO1 will be dead on arrival, but the team strongly feels that isn't the case. Similar comments sprang up in March 2015 when Halo Online was announced, and the team felt the same way then as they do now.
We are Halo, but we're also not. We're very unique in tone. Like, we do things differently. We're our own thing. We have people who are independently interested in us and what we're doing as a project. And that's aside from any future Halo project.
While the game is moving forward, eventually their efforts will culminate in its release. Sometime soon. But aside from further plans for Installation 01, the team has begun to dream of the future.
You wonder what's the next step, what happens after this, and what is my future. It's something that has defined me. You know, it's been 5 years doing this straight, so I don't really know what my life is right now without it.
Alex has hopes of building up the game development studio presence on the East Coast of the United States, and can't help but liken the team to the beginning of id Software, creators of little-known games such as Doom, Wolfenstein, and Quake. The prospect of having a close-knit team bouncing their creativity off one another is beyond exciting for them. After all, IO1 has been almost wholly developed while the team is dispersed all over the world. As of right now, though, the crew is fully focused on Installation 01 and hopes that it'll serve as a springboard for their studio. Few games inspire their audiences to action, and even fewer have the power to span generations. Halo defined a genre when it came onto the scene in the early 2000s, and it is home to one of the most dedicated communities in the industry. Installation 01 is a product of the impact that Halo has had on not only Alex and Nate, but on the community as a whole. It's a testament that the games we play are more than entertainment. They can shape us and define us, and lead us on a journey to realize our dreams.